Halo pemirsa, Bincang Spesial kembali hadir menemani Anda dengan beragam topik terhangat dan isu yang sedang ramai diperbincangkan masyarakat. Bersama saya Arif Rifai, karena setiap suara punya arti, setiap tamu membawa inspirasi. Sebelum kita perkenalkan dan kita undang tamu spesial kita hari ini, kita akan lihat terlebih dahulu tayangan berikut ini. Di atas laut, sejarah bangsa ini dibentuk. Dari jalur pelayaran, perdagangan hingga pertemuan antar budaya. Di setiap gelombang tertinggal jejak kekuasaan, pertukaran dan luka sejarah yang tak selalu tercatat. Laut bukan hanya ruang yang netral, ia menyimpan ingatan dan membentuk identitas bangsa maritim. Namun seiring waktu, banyak kisah bahari yang terlupakan atau hanya diceritakan dari satu sisi. Disinilah seni hadir bukan untuk menghakimi, tapi untuk membaca kembali jejak-jejak sejarah yang terpinggirkan. Melalui bahasa visual, ruang, dan keheningan, seni mengajak kita menghadapi masa lalu dengan cara yang berbeda. Dari Laut Indonesia ke Jepang hingga Belanda, sejarah maritim menjadi dialog lintas bangsa. Bagaimana seni dapat menjembatani ingatan, identitas, dan luka sejarah? Selengkapnya di Bincang Spesial. Pemirsa, selama ini kita menganggap bahwasannya laut merupakan ruang netral. Padahal dalam sejarah Indonesia, laut merupakan saksi dari perjumpaan, perebutan kekuasaan, hingga luka kolonial yang panjang. Sebagai bangsa bahari, tentu saat ini pertanyaannya bukan lagi bagaimana kita merayakan laut, tetapi bagaimana kita melihat kembali jejak-jejak bahari yang membentuk siapa kita hari ini. Dan pemirsa, hari ini kita akan membahas dan juga berbincang terkait tentang seni membaca jejak bahari, tentang bagaimana sejarah maritim, kolonialisme dan juga ingatan kolektif ini diterjemahkan lewat bahasa seni bersama dengan narasumber spesial kita hari ini, yakni seorang seniman hingga peneliti intermedia yang karyanya bergerak lintas negara dan juga lintas sejarah. Please welcome Vincent, Writers PhD. Hello Vincent.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
It's really nice to see you in this talk show.
Happy to be here.
It's such an honor for having you in this talk show. Welcome to Bincang Spesial Sinpo TV. Today we will like to talking about your project especially. I'm really curious and I'm really excited to talking about your project that called Crimson Guild. But before that, I'm really also curious about how do you see Indonesia? You several times comes to Indonesia, but now being here in Indonesia, how do you see Indonesia through your own eyes?
So my mom is from Indonesia.
Yeah.
So I see it, it's very close to me, actually. And I've been going here as a small child and I've been going back and forth. So being here feels very natural. It's a country I love very much and I care about. So now I'm here as a child. I came here for trips, family trips, vacation. But now I'm here to do a project and to work here. And that feels great because I have more of a stronger connection with the country because I'm actually working together with the Indonesians on this project. So I'm very excited about this. And every time I come here, I see a new beautiful part of the country. So I love Indonesia, absolutely.
What is your favorite part of Indonesia that you really love about this country?
I love the warmth of the people. People are very warm and kind. That's what I like most about it. Yeah.
So when you first come to Indonesia, do you ever experience a culture shock about the daily activity about the people of Indonesia?
I wouldn't say so much a daily activity, but as a child, I went to some rituals with the warung dance and with the monsters and stuff and the keris. And it was quite shocking to me when I was a small child. So that was a big culture shock. But it left a big impression, I think, on me. Yeah.
But talking about Indonesia, it is not really complete. If we are not talk about the food. So
Yes.
I'm really curious about your favorite Indonesian food. Before you say that Padang food, right? Is it right or?
Well, I mean, I love Padang
Yeah.
food, but my favorite food would be rendang.
Oh, rendang.
Yes.
Rendang is also Padang food.
That's my favorite. Also, okay. I didn't even. Sorry, but that's definitely my number one food. Yeah, I love it very much.
Okay, you are now as artist and also that focus about. You have a project in Indonesia, especially the art project, talking about the Indonesian history. You know that Indonesia is often described as a maritime nation, but I think that it is quite, can feel abstract. So, in your opinion, how do you personally understand Indonesia's maritime identity today?
Well, I mean, Indonesia used to be several kingdoms, right? So I do think that trade and maritime activities like shipping was extremely important for the culture and how the country formed itself. And from my own perspective, when I think about trade or maritime history in Indonesia, with my own background, I think about how also there was first like Chinese people coming from Fujian, right, in the 1300s doing the trade, and how that influenced also Chinese culture, Indonesian culture with batik influences and goods, and then later in the 1600s, of course, the Netherlands, right? And that had another influence, and it's always sort of connected through other countries also, but also the islands among themselves were connected through maritime activity, through ships and trade. So I think ships and maritime history have a huge impact on how the country and the culture are shaped till this day. Yeah.
When we are talking about the maritime nations, especially Indonesia, our history in these nations is a long time ago. Indonesia is a region, or this region is stood at the center of global sea, especially global sea route, and several years ago. Yeah. So how does your focus on art? How does art can describe about the history about Indonesia's maritime several years ago?
The art that I make, I don't think it describes anything. I think it asks questions. So it asks questions about this history, and it tries to give different interpretations. So that's a bit different than describing, because if you're talking about describing, it's more like information. So design describes, art asks questions. So my artwork asks the questions about the colonial history of the VOC. Is a history that has several versions, because it has to do with several countries. There has been VOC activity and trade in Japan. VOC is from the Netherlands, and VOC has colonized, because of the VOC, colonization happened here in Indonesia. So all these three countries have different ways of looking at the history.
Oh yeah.
What my artwork does is it questions what are the differences between these perspectives, and if there would be exchange between all these histories right now, how each country sees them. What would we learn from that? So that's actually the purpose of my artwork. So the exchange between the histories that Japan, the Netherlands, and Indonesia has about the VOC.
But when we're talking about the VOC, it's really, you say that it's really different perspective between Japan, between Netherlands, and between Indonesia.
Yeah.
But it's often when we discuss about VOC, the focus is on commerce, especially in the Europe nations. But what parts of this history about the VOC that do you feel are still rarely addressed?
Actually, what's interesting is that depends on which country you're talking about. So in Indonesia, different aspects are rarely addressed. In Japan, other aspects are rarely addressed. In Netherlands, again, other aspects are really rarely addressed. And that's what makes it so interesting to connect these perspectives with this artwork. I would think what I have learned until now is that in Japan, the negative side is rarely addressed because they were never colonized by the VOC.
Oh.
So they think about the wealth or maybe the cultural exchange and the knowledge that they gained through that trade. So the dark side is rarely addressed, I would say.
Yeah.
So you were talking about like slavery and exploitation and colonialism, right? In Indonesia, I think, for instance, the connection that Indonesia had with Japan through the VOC in the 1600s maybe is rarely addressed, right? And in the Netherlands, it's changing a lot in the last 15 years, 20 years. First, I think the negative side was rarely addressed. And this is a problem, I think. Especially like people like me with a mixed background who have a connection to Indonesia, growing up, seeing only the positive side, well, you get upset, of course. You want to change it. So that's also why I want to change it. So now we're in the Netherlands. It's changing from only showing the positive side to showing both the positive and the negative side. And this project is a very important part in that process for the Netherlands.
So you're struggling to connect it. That's all perspective in all, the three countries about how Indonesia, perspective of Indonesian nations about the VOC, and then how perspective of Japan and Netherlands about the history of VOC.
Yeah, and I'm still learning as I'm doing these exhibitions, right? First in Japan, now in Jakarta, and in the summer in Amsterdam. So I'm still learning about these perspectives as I'm talking to the museum curators, as I'm talking to the audience. I'm still also learning about that. And it's also why you said struggling. I think, yes, it is struggling in a way because it's such a sensitive subject and it's so heavy. And by addressing this, sometimes it can be a little bit scary, I think, and I have to be very sensitive and cautious about it. Yeah.
And this is very interesting when in your work you often deal about absence and silence. So how can art speak about the histories that were never properly recorded? So how you can express the history with art, but the history is never properly recorded?
Well, I think what like historical books or something, what that can do, or normal old objects from a certain era, they can give information. But I think art can give a feeling. And feelings also are part of history and atmosphere. They also tell a story. So my artwork also tries to give a certain feeling of that double-sidedness of the VOC history. There is a positive part and there's a negative part. How are they both the same? Right? This is a kind of abstract thing, right? There's both good things and very bad things about that history. How can it be one thing? How do we deal with that? Right? How does that feel? There's a word for that double-sidedness called a dichotomy. How does that dichotomy feel? I think art has a strong quality that it can do that. It can convey those feelings, convey that atmosphere, something that historical books or normal education might not be able to do. And with my artwork, I try to accomplish that.
And maybe we can also see how the role of museum, you know that now museums are expected, it's not to, expected to create a dialogue, not just preserve objects. So how do you see about that role about the museum? It's not only to preserve an object, but also it's to express or create a dialogue about the history.
Well, when you're saying the museum is expected to collect or preserve an object, I think that only doing that is not possible. Sometimes we go to a museum and it has some text, you know, and it looks very neutral. They're just showing the object. No, they're giving a message, always. In curation, which means the making of exhibitions, everything is a choice. What text am I going to put here? How I'm going to do the lighting? Which things I'm going to show? Which things am I going to put in the storage? These are all storytelling of the museum people, and they influence how we see that history. So even when museums are just showing objects, they are actually having a very strong opinion and a statement and a way of thinking about that history. And we see that between the history museums of the Netherlands, Japan, and Indonesia, that there's a big difference in the way the museums show these objects. But now, of course, I think it's more important, it's becoming more and more important to create a dialogue, right? So, and with this project, because what's nice about this project is that hopefully also the museum people of Japan, Netherlands, and Indonesia can get a stronger relationship with each other through this. Hopefully there will be more future collaborations because of that. So for this dialogue, what's exciting, what I'm planning with the National Maritime Museum of the Netherlands, so that will be the third and final exhibition of this artwork in September. We're organizing a symposium that we're inviting the curators from Hirado in Japan, that museum, here in Museum Bahari, and also the Netherlands, and perhaps some experts, right, historical experts, to actually have that dialogue. So there will be an actual dialogue between all these experts about sharing the perspectives and thinking not about only the past, about, okay, how are we going to go forward in the future, working together, and hopefully by this exchange, there will be a process of healing. That is my hope, of course.
Was your art project that called Crimson Guild, it is connected a bit with the three countries about Netherlands, Japan, and Indonesia. But if we are talking about Indonesian history, especially Indonesian maritime history, in your imagine, and we're talking about Indonesian maritime history, what will you create about the artwork that imagine or that express the Indonesian maritime history? It is like another challenge maybe.
Yes, so this project has a strong frame in that it's about the VOC and how the VOC relates to Indonesia. So I wouldn't say that is purely the Indonesian maritime history, right? That is one part of the colonial maritime history. But if you're talking about a larger Indonesian maritime history, and what's interesting is that yesterday I had a talk show in Museum Bahari, and there was actually a curator from another maritime museum who was very proud of the ships she had. And she said, oh, I have this beautiful royal ship. How maybe it's interesting to work to that. So I can feel now, by talking to you, talking to yesterday about this with this other curator, that I think maybe the Indonesian people want a project about the specific Indonesian maritime history. That would be a new project, that would be a new challenge, but I think it is very interesting and could be very beautiful, because I already see in Museum Bahari that there are so many beautiful ships. And of course, when we're talking about Indonesian maritime history, it's only VOC is such a small part of it. It's such an old country, right? With many kingdoms, which every island probably has its own maritime history, their own ships. So that's a huge project. My project is only touching a small part of that. And I would love to imagine maybe about a project that's about the whole maritime history, also of the native Indonesian history and the native Indonesian aesthetics. That would be very interesting.
Well, maybe for the next you have a specific project about the Indonesian maritime history, especially about the ship. You said that every island of Indonesia have a specific or characteristic ship that is really interesting to express into one art project.
Yes.
Well, we will continue our discussions. It is about the next. We will talking about your project, especially Crimson Guild. Pemirsa, kita akan lanjutkan lagi obrolan kita bersama dengan Vincent terkait dengan proyek seninya yang diadakan di 3 negara, Indonesia, Jepang, dan juga Belanda. Setelah jeda berikut ini, untuk itu jangan kemana-mana, tetaplah bersama kami di Bincang Spesial. Pemirsa, Anda kembali menyaksikan Bincang Spesial. Setiap suara punya arti, setiap tamu membawa inspirasi. Tadi kita sudah membahas terkait dengan sejarah maritim Indonesia, bagaimana pandangan seorang Vincent terkait dengan Indonesia dan apa hal-hal yang menjadikannya menarik, bahkan jadikannya sebagai culture shock. Dan di segmen ini kita akan membahas secara spesifik terkait dengan proyek Seni yang sedang dijalankan oleh Vincent di 3 negara, Indonesia, Jepang, dan juga Belanda, yang kita sebut sebagai Crimson Guild. Vincent, now you helped or create an art project that called Crimson Guild. Maybe for the viewers that the first time watch this, they not know about your project Crimson Guild. Maybe you could tell them about what is the Crimson Guild.
Okay. So Crimson Guild is a very large artwork. It's about 8 meters long by 4 meters wide. And it's something that we call installation art.
Installation art.
So installation art is like a sculpture, but it's just really big, you know, and you can walk through it and around it. So it's really big, and it's made of textile. And it's made out of all these small textile strips, and they all have a color. Together, these 1,000 textile strips give the illusion of the shape of a ship. But actually, it's just a lot of textile strips. So it's like a really big sort of ship artwork, and you can walk through it also. The ship's shape is a copy, is very specifically the shape of a ship that is currently in Amsterdam. It's called, the ship is called, ironically, Amsterdam. There's a big replica of an old VOC ship in front of the Maritime Museum there. And that is the same ship as the Crimson Guild artwork. My artwork is like an imaginary story, as if that ship, like 300 years ago, would have traveled from the Netherlands to Hirado and to Japan and to Indonesia. While doing that, it's taking the perspective of the VOC history with it, with each country. So first, it takes the perspective on the VOC history from Japan. Then it travels to Indonesia, takes that perspective, and then it travels to the Netherlands and takes that perspective. So it takes all these 3 perspectives with it in that journey and tries to show all the differences in perspective. So that is the goal of the artwork, and the artwork is in Hirado. The front of the artwork is in gold. So it's like a golden ship. But the back is in red, in blood red. And these colors have a very symbolical meaning. The front, the golden, is a symbol or metaphor for wealth and money and richness, but also wealth through cultural exchange, so abstract wealth. The red color stands for exploitation, colonialism, slavery, the dark side of the VOC. So in Japan, the colors are like this because it's like, in Japan they see the positive side, but what is not shown so much is also that it's driven by a very dark side, you know. So that's why the back is red. Here, what is very highlighted is the negative side, and the back is, so the front is red here in Bahari, and in the back is golden, so as if it's like pushed. The exploitation is pushed by the need for wealth. And in the Netherlands, it's going to be, the front side is going to be golden, and the back side is going to be red. Because right now we're changing the perspective of how we look at it and showing the negative side more there. That is the artwork.
So you try to connect the different perspective from 3 countries, Indonesia, Japan, and also Netherlands, through the different of color.
Yes, through the different colors. And I'm trying to also connect it through a different way. I'm working together with a sound artist, a Japanese sound artist called Yoichi Kamimura, great friend and great artist. He, what we have done, he has recorded him and I guided him is taking sounds from all the three countries and combining them together. So he went to Amsterdam. He went in the actual replica, right? They rebuilt this old VOC ship there in front of the National Maritime Museum in Amsterdam. And he went in there and recorded the sounds of the ship, the creaking of the wood, the rope sounds, the water sounds around it, the sails, right? So the atmosphere of that ship. Now he's actually, right now, as we speak, he is in Jakarta, in the Sunda Kelapa, right? This historical haven that has to do with his maritime history. Taking the sounds of the market, taking the sounds of the harbor workers right now, taking the sounds of the water, but also in Hirado. He took the natural sounds of the wind, of the birds, of the seagulls there. And he's going to combine it all into something that we call a soundscape. A soundscape is a combination between sound and landscape. So it's like as if you're in an environment with all these sounds of wind and ships and VOC sounds and atmosphere, but also Indonesian atmospheres of trade, of workers, of the harbor. So hopefully when you go into the installation, people will feel the atmosphere through the sounds. So the sounds are connecting these countries as well.
Wow, so the sound is combined between in Hirado, Jakarta and Amsterdam, or different sound in each place?
Well, yes, there's different sounds to be found in each place. Yes, I mean, Jakarta is great because it is so alive and it is so much energy and there's so much activity going on. So Yoichi is so exciting right now about all the richness of the sound that he can use here. Yes.
It is already finished in Hirado.
Yes.
In September.
It was finished in November.
In November 2025.
Yes.
So how was the reactions about the excitement of people in Hirado about your artwork?
Yeah, they were very excited about it, and I think it was really cool that they were open to show the artwork, because also it's a bit sensitive, right, for them. But I think it's really honorable and good that they were open to do the project. So they want to be part of this dialogue, right? That's great. And there was excitement about it. But yeah, and I think people really liked that it is like it's not only, I mean, it's a serious artwork, but if you just go into the exhibition space, it's something that's very enjoyable. Right? It's like a spectacle. It's really big, and there's all these colors. You can walk around it. As you walk around it, the color changes, right? Also for children, I think it's lots of fun. You can run around it, all these things. So I think also in Japan, people really enjoyed the fact that it's about history, but sometimes when we think about history, sometimes it can be a bit boring for some people. Books, old objects, you know what I mean? So people, I think, really enjoyed the fact that it was like a big, colorful artwork with many different stimulus.
Yeah. The focus of your artwork, this Crimson Guild, is a ship Amsterdam from 1748. It's the central of your artwork. Why about this ship?
Well, that's a good question. That ship, I think, is part of the Dutch people's education. So the National Maritime Museum in Amsterdam has a function to educate the Dutch people in general about the VOC and the maritime history of the Netherlands. And as we see, it changes over time. So when I was a child, I went into that ship to learn about the VOC. There's so many school trips. So many children know that ship, and that's their image of the VOC. As I'm trying to create a dialogue to progress the way we see that history, I think that using that ship, which is a symbol for the VOC history for so many Dutch people, is quite a strong symbolism. That's why I chose that ship, because there's a real replica of that right now in the Netherlands that has such an educational function. But if you look at the history of the ship itself, it might not be the most interesting one. Because why? The ship originally left from the harbor from the same waters as the National Maritime Museum is in now. All the ship used to be made right there in a place called the Oosterdok. Here we have the Sunda Kelapa. In Amsterdam we have the Oosterdok. And it left there and it wanted to go to Asia. But it already sank in England. And it sank and it was gone and all the treasure was robbed by pirates. So the actual Crimson Guild in history, or that ship, the Amsterdam, in history, didn't last long and sank very quickly. But in my story, it travels all the way to Asia and it can finish its route.
It is also interesting that in your installation, the ship appears to float. So what does that suspended state represent about the state afloat in the sky, like in the sky?
Yes. So why did I choose that shape?
Yeah.
Because when we talk about these matters, right, as our generation, right, with any generation, we have a larger distance towards this history, right? Maybe a couple of generations ago, there were people that maybe still had a connection with that history, with ancestors, but getting further and further and further. So that history, it feels abstract. It feels like also, it's there, but it's also not there, right? And how do we treat this heavy history? It's heavy, but it's light at the same time. You know, it's an idea. It's also abstract. So I think it was very interesting to recreate this ship not as a solid ship, but more as a light thing that is floating, like an idea that goes forward. How can this ship flow forward? How can this conversation about the VOC flow forward into the future? So I want to sort of create a combination between heaviness and lightness. So I think we have to treat this history also with a good combination of heaviness and lightness. Lightness in the sense of collaboration and positivity towards the future between the three countries about that history, but also heaviness because it's a very serious subject. That's why I chose this shape.
Okay, when we're talking about this shape, it's really, we're also talking about the different perspective. For European nations, maybe this ship is also symbolizes European success.
Yeah.
But for Indonesia, it symbolizes about the beginning of colonialization.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion or in your project, how you hold both perspective in one artwork?
Yes, I do both. And this artwork, I'm not trying to sort of say my opinion about this, right? I'm trying to create a space, trying to make a work that asks questions and triggers conversations between these countries, right? So I'm not trying to say, oh, this, I think this, and this is this. But I'm trying to acknowledge both sides, both bad and both.
Combine it.
Yes. Yeah. So that's why each strip, each one of the 1,000 strips that is hanging has a golden side and has a red side. But it's the same thing, but it has both sides. But I think right now in the Netherlands, the conversation is shifting towards showing the more negative side as well. And what I'm very excited about is that people like me who have Indonesian ancestry, we are grown up now. We have education. We grow up actually in a much more comfortable environment than our parents who try to just make money and survive, right? And now other like Indo people or people, or Peranakan people like me, we grew up in the Netherlands. Now I'm an artist, but there's also many curators, many people with Indonesian ancestry that are working in the big museums right now. Because of that, my project is accepted. 20 years ago, it cannot be like this. They wouldn't accept my project. Yeah. But now there's people with Indonesian ancestry who understand it from the negative side as well, who want artists like me to do this kind of project. So now it's a great timing, and I'm very excited about that the institutions in the Netherlands are changing, and for me, in a good way. But undoubtedly, when I release this project in the Netherlands, there will be friction. But I think some people might be angry at me. Also, because they only want to show the golden side.
Well, it is a great idea to create an art project that combine a different perspective do you think that the different perspective about the European nations, the Japan and Indonesia, is the biggest challenge to create your artwork, especially this project?
Well, I mean, it's actually the biggest it's a challenge to do this because I have to learn every time, and it's not about me, right? It's about a big history, which has affected many families, have affected history, and many people in a different way. So I don't want to just say things about this without learning about it. So that is definitely something I have to be careful about. That is a challenge, but I would say the biggest challenge is the logistical part, the organization. We were talking about an artwork that is traveling to 3 countries in 3 museums, and they all have to collaborate with each other. And the artwork itself is produced by big machines it's like knitted, big machines that are knitting it, and it has to be installed in the ceiling of each museum room. So it's a very complicated artwork to produce, and it's also very complicated to organize all 3 exhibitions. So that has been the biggest challenge for me, actually. I have to be honest. Yes.
Well, the exhibitions, the art is already finished in Hirado, Japan,
yes.
And it will held in Jakarta maybe next month.
Yes, it will be actually from next week's Saturday.
Oh, Saturday.
Everyone is welcome to visit, and it will be 2 months long. So from 7 February until 7 April.
So 7 April. And then the finish or the last one is in Amsterdam.
Yes.
So you say that in Hirado, the excitement of people in Hirado is really great. They are excited to see your artwork. But in Indonesia and also in Amsterdam, so how do you imagine Indonesian people or Dutch audience to see about your art project?
Well, so yesterday I was with a talk show, as I mentioned. There were some super sharp questions, you know. There are sharp questions, so I need to be ready for those questions, you know. But the artwork sort of pushes to acknowledge the Indonesian experience, also among the other countries, right? So I think that I'm not. I think it will be a nice reception, but I'm a little bit nervous about the Netherlands, you know, because I'm just to be honest, I'm nervous about that. Some people will be like, they're proud and they're like, hey, what are you doing with the history that I'm very proud of? Don't show that part. That's something that I'm a bit afraid of. So I'm actually more nervous about showing it in Netherlands than in Indonesia. Yeah.
But I hope the Dutch people, the Dutch audience will also very proud about your artwork. And same as me, I'm really excited to see in Museum Bahari, Jakarta from 7 February until 7 April 2026. Pemirsa, kita tadi sudah membahas terkait dengan bagaimana proyek seni yang dijalankan oleh Vincent yang diselenggarakan di 3 negara, Jepang, Indonesia, dan juga Netherlands ataupun Belanda. Dan itu akan diselenggarakan dari tanggal 7 Februari sampai dengan 7 April 2026. Jadi untuk kalian yang ingin melihat bagaimana karya seni dari seorang Vincent bisa datang ke Museum Bahari, Jakarta. Kita akan lanjut lagi obrolan kita nanti usai jeda, tapi ini yang spesial yang we will close this segment. You can say, jangan kemana-mana, tetap di Bincang Spesial.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Where is the camera?
In this camera. Jangan kemana-mana, tetap di Bincang Spesial. Yeah. It's another challenge.
Jangan kemana-mana,
tetap di Bincang Spesial. Okay.
Jangan kemana-mana, tetap di Bincang Spesial.
Pemirsa, Anda kembali menyaksikan Bincang Spesial. Setiap suara punya arti, setiap tamu membawa inspirasi. Dan tadi kita sudah membahas tentang karya dari seorang Vincent. Di segmen ini kita akan mengenal lebih jauh seorang Vincent, mulai dari latar belakangnya, bagaimana masa kecilnya, dan siapa yang menjadi inspirasinya. Vincent, maybe the audience or the public now know you as an artist and also researcher and also lecturer. But if we talking about when you was kid, what is your dream? Is to be an artist is your dream when you were a kid?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it was my dream.
Oh, why you want to be an artist?
So it's not like I wanted to be an artist, but as a kid I was always drawing a lot. So somehow my head was really full. It's still very full, but and I feel so many things, and I need to get it out of myself. So I was always drawing, and my parents always also give me so much inspiration. They take me to so many Asian countries and take me to so many museums. So I always wanted to draw. So it's like I'm always drawing and making art. So it's like I have no other choice, you know? So it's not like, in the future I want to be an artist. So it's like, I have to continue doing this. And so I have to be an artist. Yeah.
Talking about you, about the Vincents, the part that is really interesting is about the background of your family. Am I wrong? With a Dutch father and a Chinese Indonesian mother, how does the layered background of your family shape your work?
It shapes it mostly in the last 3 years. It's very, very influenced by that. Before, actually less. So in the beginning of my career, I was more focused on technology and intimacy. I thought it was very interesting. But then since 3 years ago, I wanted to know more about my own family background, because growing up, first I thought I was just half Indonesian, but at a certain point my mom said, "You're half Chinese Indonesian." But I didn't even know what that meant. I had no image of what that means. So when I came back, I lived in Japan for 8 years in studying there, and I came back to the Netherlands. And I see all my family getting older and my Asian family getting older. And I think if I want to get answers about these questions, I have to start asking them now to learn about my family history, to learn about what is Chinese and Indonesian, what does that mean, right? So I started researching about that. And now, because of that first research, I made an artwork that I showed in Yogyakarta. And now from that became this new artwork called Crimson Guild. It's very natural because I grew up in the Netherlands. I see how they portray the VOC history. I lived in Japan. I see how they portray the VOC history. And I went here many times here as well. And I see all the differences. So it's like, oh, that's interesting. Everybody's looking different about it. Oh, let's make an artwork about it. So that's how that came very natural.
Okay. Your research focuses on aesthetic of intimacy, right?
Yeah.
So how does intimacy work within historical themes?
I think, so intimacy is about closeness. And it's about humanity. So my work tries to approach themes with closeness and humanity. So also in this work, I try to approach the history of the VOC with also feelings and atmosphere, and not so much facts. So there is a closeness and an intimacy, I think, in that aspect of the work. And the fact that the material is soft textile also has to do with this intimacy. But my original research, I researched intimacy because I was making these big technological installations, you know, using not robots, but like motors, sensors, electronics. I really thought that was really cool. But in my heart, I'm a very passionate person. So I was like, how can I combine the feeling, the world of my feeling, with the world of technology? That's why I researched intimacy, to combine these both together. And in this current artwork, those both are combined together.
And if we see your work, it's silence and shadows often appear in your work, right?
Yes.
What role do they play?
So silence, I think, is important because every day we get so many stimulus, right? It's hard to focus. it's hard to find a place to focus. Even if in our house, we're currently on our smartphone. So when we're talking about an exhibition in a museum, what can it offer you that other environments cannot? It can offer you silence and focus. So I try to make that silence with my artwork. So I control everything of the exhibition, every light, the way the audience walks from entering the door, every small thing, to create this sort of silence within this space that you can focus and really have a strong connection with the artwork and what you're seeing. And the other aspect was silence and shadows.
Silence and
shadows.
shadow, yeah.
So shadows, I think, is interesting because shadows have a very deep meaning and a deep history. So shadows in Greek history in the West, which is important for the Western way of thinking, they have the cave of Plato, which is about ideas. And he says ideas are like shadows. In Indonesia, you have wayang kulit, which is also expressing the world of the gods and the ideas within shadows. So art is about feeling, it's about what's abstract. So I think shadows are the perfect medium to express art because it's about ideas. It's something that is there, but you cannot touch it because it's in your mind, it's in your heart. That's why I like shadows.
Okay, when we talk about, again, we talk about the Crimson Guild. If we compare to your earlier project, how personal is Crimson Guild for you? If this is, am I wrong? This is connected about the Netherlands and Indonesia. This is feel personal for you.
Yeah, it does. It comes from experiencing those countries and my own questions about, oh, how does the VOC play part here? How is it portrayed here? So yes, it comes from my own curiosity, but also my own desire to connect these countries together because in myself, I carry a connection with these three countries. So I want to connect them also through this project. So this also comes from a curiosity, but also a desire for collaboration between these countries. Yes, but actually it is personal, but maybe older work was even more personal. But this work I try to also make a little bit less personal because it's not only about me, right? It's also about something that's larger scale, but about more collaboration between the countries themselves. So in the symposium, I'm not going to be the only one who's talking. I'm going to have the Indonesian people do the talking. I'm going to have the Japanese people do the talking. Going to have the Dutch people do the talking. So I also try, this actually also is my most large-scale project and my most collaborative project until so far.
Beside the artist, you are also an institutional advisor.
Yes, you can call that.
So how is working as an institutional advisor different from being an independent artist?
So the advisory role that I have is a role that I do a couple of hours, like a week. So it's not a full-time thing, but actually, I was asked by the Ethnographic Museum in the Netherlands, called the World Museum. It's a very important museum. They have a lot of old objects, also from Indonesia, actually. Now we're trying to get them back to Indonesia. And it's a very important museum when we're talking about the Indonesian history and the VOC history. And it's called, with a museum called Museum Sophiahof, which is a museum about the Indische culture, the colonial history, and the Indische community in the Netherlands right now. So it's collaboration with them, and basically they picked a curator to say, you need to connect, you need to make sure that this history is portrayed stronger in the Netherlands. And that there's more collaboration between all the experts and artists involved, also in Indonesia. So they asked me to be an advisor for that person because I have a strong network in the arts within Indonesia as well as the Netherlands. And I've sort of done a lot of research about this. So I'm advising her about this project. Yeah. It's more theoretical, but I like theoretical because I did a PhD. I like writing about it. I like also the theoretical part, the academic part about this. Yeah.
Okay. The last, if you can give one message from younger Indonesian generations, so what you like younger audience to take from your work? What your message from them, for them?
Well, I mean, I think for me, I hope also for them to see that this history is not only alive here in Indonesia, but at that same moment, it's still developing and it's still a topic in the Netherlands and Japan, and that's still changing. So to feel that they're part of a bigger network,
Okay.
Instead of that it's just here. So that's something I want to give to the young Indonesian people, but to feel that connectiveness, that it's still currently still going on. It's not something of the past. The conversation is going on right now in these other countries as well, to feel connected. What I want to give maybe curators, artists from Indonesia, there's so much Indonesian talent. You know, there's so much creativity. There's so much inspiration to be found in Indonesia. Hopefully, maybe it can inspire Indonesian people to, young artists to take their own history and make it into something big and fantastical. Yes.
Okay, that's the last question, but this is not the end of our talk show.
Okay.
I have one games. This is a simple games for you. It's like a simple challenge for you.
Yeah.
I will give you two choice, and you need to pick one that is really you. Okay.
Let's go.
You just need to answer it quickly.
Okay.
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 Yes, I will give you two choice and you choose one.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. For the first time, okay. Indonesia or Japan?
Both.
Both?
Yeah, I cannot say
Only one.
No, I cannot.
If only one.
Okay, Indonesia, because it's my ancestry.
Okay, because
That's why.
now you are in Indonesia.
Also.
If I ask in Japan, maybe you will answer Japan. Okay, Indonesia, right?
Yes.
Yes. Indonesia or Netherlands?
Oh. I don't know. I guess Netherlands because I live there. My passport is the Netherlands.
That's okay because you are born in Netherlands.
Yes, it's my mother tongue.
Yeah.
I
Okay. Archive research or field research?
Can you say that again?
Archive research or field research?
Field research.
Field research. Why?
Yes. Because I want to be in the field with real people and not. I like to be more active, talking with real people, seeing things for myself rather than being on my computer or in the books.
Okay, so you choose field research.
Field research.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Museum Bahari Jakarta or Hirado?
Oh no. Bahari because I'm in Indonesia.
Oke, Bahari. Jadi agak tenang ya, karena saat ini lagi di Indonesia nih. Oke, textile installation or video installation?
Textile installation.
Why?
I like material. I like something that I can feel with my hands. I think that's intimate. You know, on your skin, you can feel it. It's physical. I like textile installation more.
So textile installations. PhD research or studio practice?
Studio practice.
Why?
Because in the end of my PhD research, I got super depressed because I'm only writing, researching, and I'm only in my head. I'm like, oh my God. So in the studio, I'm active. It's like workout. I'm with my body. Every day is different materials. I enjoy that more.
Okay, so studio practice.
Studio practice.
Working alone or working with historians?
Well, I mean, I would say like working with historians, but working with other people in general. I'm not the kind of person who only wants to work alone because I become lonely.
So you choose teamwork, right?
Teamwork. 100%.
Okay.
Yes. And I want to say this project is teamwork. It's not only me.
Yes.
Big team.
Okay. Colonial history or family history?
I think family history because as a person, I really enjoy that. You know, talking to my family, you know, it hits me very deep. So as an activity, I would say I would enjoy that more. Yeah.
Okay. Long-term research or spontaneous work?
Long time research. Yes.
Staying ambiguous or taking a clear position?
Ambiguous.
Ambiguous. Why?
Because ambiguity is more closer to the truth. Because all these questions, one or the other, I'm a mixed person, right? Being a mixed person is about two things being true at the same time. So actually, a lot of these questions, they're both true at the same time. It's not one or the other, just like Crimson and Guild.
Okay.
Yes.
The last one word about this talk show.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You're really awesome today. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for share about your thought, about your project. And I'm really excited to come to Museum Bahari, Jakarta to see your project, Crimson Guild.
I will guide you around. You're
Alright, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Terima kasih juga untuk pemirsa Sinpo TV yang sudah menyaksikan kami dari awal hingga akhir. Jangan lupa terus saksikan Bincang Spesial hanya di Sinpo TV. Saya Arif Rifai, mewakili seluruh kru yang bertugas. Sampai jumpa di Bincang Spesial berikutnya.